Hello, it's me, Danielle Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. And we are talking about P. Diddy's case, and it's going to be today's May 1st. As I'm filming this, it's going to be May 5th. And this a trial about justice, or is it a time of distraction? We are going to break it down. And when I say distraction, not from, some other things in the world, because we are capable of multitasking, but are they having us live in a Delulu land? I'm going to talk about that and what that means for as P. Diddy's court case. And I'm going to use astrology. We're going to pull tarot. I'm going to have a little bit of a cosmic truth serum happening here because the planets are telling us something deeper than what the headlines and what the stories are telling us far as astrology. Okay, so let's get into this and start this video. And yeah, also too, if you guys really want to go deeper and have questions, because I don't know everything about this, please write it down below and I will answer them. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
I love you.
Okay, so I'm going to bring up the chart. And what I have here is I have two different charts that I'm showing. One is P. Diddy's chart, which we don't have a time for. Now, P. Diddy's chart is on the outer ring. And on the inside, we have the day of the court case. And I have the time for that. I have is 9:30. I'm not sure if that's right. The case could start at 9:30. I Googled it. AI said May 5th at 9:30 a.m. So that is what we have. And usually I will put it, okay, let me explain for people who are not that deep into astrology. Usually I will have it going with P. Diddy's rising sign. But because we don't have a time, I'm going off of the court's rising sign. So things are a little bit different when reading this chart, but that's okay. Astrology is always going to have some unexpected themes here happening. So what we can tell you, what I can tell you about this case is that it has a Cancer rising. If the time is, and if the time is not correct, I'm going to tell you some predictions, even if the time is not correct. Okay. We can still have predictions on the happenings and the vibe in the sky on the day of May 5th. Now, if this happens at 9:30, then this is a Cancer rising. So a lot of themes about the past will be brought up, and a sense of security. Cancer represents safety, security, and past. And yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. If he has because court cases last a long time, some of them, and so if this lasts a long time, it's going to be affected by any full moons, it's going to be affected by any eclipse happening, because the ruler of Cancer is the moon. So anytime the moon has a negative aspect and he has a court date that day, because this is the starting date and time of the court case, if this is the starting date and time of the court case, then the moon is going to be affected. So whenever the collective is moody, this case is going to be moody. And that's another thing. The case is going to be moody. One day they're happy. Within the same day, they could be depressed and unhappy and angry. Okay. Because just like the moon moves fast, the moodiness of the court energy is going to move fast. Now, when you're looking at any court cases, you look at the 7th house and you look at the 9th house. Those are the two things that we will be looking at. Now, far as the media and what they're going to portray, the day of May 5th, the media which is going to be looking at, usually I look for media. Well, Jupiter is currently in the sign Gemini. So the media is still going to be expansive and big, regardless of the story. But we're also going to see that Mercury is sitting here and it's sitting close to Chiron. So, and it's also in the sign Aries. So that also talks about what is the collective thinking, what is the news going to tell us? And it's going to be very bold. The headlines about the court case, if this case is big, or I'm not familiar with the goings on of court. Okay. I was going to say something, but we'll keep that behind. I kind of think of, there's a story called Adam Lives in Theory by Lauryn Hill. I relate to that song. If you haven't heard that song, go look up the lyrics, go listen to it. It's on Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen to music. But Adam lives in theory, and it talks about the court system, and that's how I feel about the court system. Anyway, but the news is going to have some bold headlines. It's going to be fast paced. It's going to be confrontational when it comes to communication. That's the overall atmosphere, far as like the communication and the news and the headlines. Words may be like impulsive or very aggressive. There could be a lot of verbal clashes even within the courtroom, and there's reactive to testimony. So like if someone says something, they'll be like, I object, like really fast. Just a lot of disruptions and fast. Disruptions is something else, but a lot of impulsivity with talking. Okay. Also too, Aries is very direct when questioning, and there's like swift decision making, and there's risky statements being said, or misstatements or careless declarations, because there's a lot of impulsivity when it comes to the thinking. Now, one thing we have is that Mercury is conjunct Chiron. So this is the planet of healing. So during this court case, there is going to be a lot of discussions of healing. Like, what is this wound you have not healed? Aries also, the ruler of Aries is Mars, and Mars is male energy, and you can think also as male energy as phallic energy, all that, and spiciness, okay, and being aggressive and being assertive, yeah, and all that and is embodied in this. And there's a lot of healing and a lot of discussions of healing when it comes to you being aggressive, when it comes to you being assertive, when it comes to you your drive and you trying to achieve things, and all that could be under the umbrella of, I don't want to say the RA word or SA word or whatever, the words that they use. But all that can be under that umbrella as well, because Mars is our actual drive in pursuing intimacy. Now, Pluto is more the intimate part, but the Mars is actually you trying to get it. And so there's going to be a lot of discussion. And the reason why I'm saying Mars is because that is the ruler of Aries. And so there's going to be a lot of discussion of that and the healing of that. Okay. And because Chiron is sitting next to that Mercury. Now, okay, so let's talk about the court case, because I'm sure that's why we're all here. So we have the court case, and we're looking at the actual court case. That's the inside. And then this is, I was about to say Trump, Pdiddy's chart here. And he has a Mars at 29 degrees. That Mars at 29 degrees is such a doozy. I did a whole video on Pdiddy and broke down his chart. So go ahead and look at that. I'll link it down below. I should have linked it down below before, but I'm doing this live. So I'll link it. If I forget, remind me and I'll link it for you. But you can also just look. And yes, and I did on P. Diddy. I broke down his whole history and what I could, because we don't have his birth time of his chart. But that 29 degrees, I think I felt like he could have had a Mars in Aquarius, because this Mars at 29 degrees that same day turns into Mars in Aquarius. So that's going to change things. So this is something I'm not sure. This is the issue with not having a birth time. But if we have Mars in the 7th house, that means his open enemies are going to be more aggressive, and they're going to be thinking about long-term energy and also restricting him. How can we restrict him? We're going to be very calculated. This is going to be very methodical. We're going to have hardcore evidence. Our evidence are realistic. And yes, so that is one element you have. Now, if it's in Aquarius, then that means that his open enemies are not on the aggressive side. They're not on the aggressive side. They're not thinking long term. This would be more of the energy of him pursuing something that could be a little bit more, not a little bit, that's very intense and extreme, because that Pluto is very extreme. And that means that Mars in Aquarius will be touching that Pluto that's in the sky. And this is more about having control over someone. Okay. So, and the control could be the control of freedom of speech, as if he cannot say the things that he normally says. I don't even know if he normally says anything, but that is also to the Mars in Aquarius. If he has a Mars in Aquarius, it will make sense more if he is bisexual, or if he's gay, or if he decides to have intercourse in all these unique and different ways, because Aquarius is very different when it comes to the sexuality, and that Mars in Aquarius will bring that differentness out. Okay. There's no judgment. However, it is an interesting aspect that we need to call out far as this case, because that's a big part of this case, all the different things that he's into when it comes to intimacy. And so if he was born later at night, because we don't have his birth time, then what it means is that there is more intensity when he's trying to pursue his freedom. There is going to be more intensity and more control. That is if he's born at night. If he is born in the daytime, and that means he will have a Mars in Capricorn that's leaning more toward his open enemy, which is I think the prosecution or whoever's the lawyer that's going against him. And that lawyer is going to have some hardcore evidence. That lawyer is going to restrict him from doing a lot of things, okay? Because Capricorn is about restriction. Capricorn is very methodical. Capricorn is very strict, and it has all the details, darling. So he will hope that he has a Mars in Aquarius. We shall see. Now, as far as the seventh house, what we can see is that the ruler of the seventh house, and this will talk about the court case, is Saturn. And when you have Saturn being a ruler of the court case, first of all, that means that it is going to be serious. You are talking about more of a government kind of issue. You're also talking about restriction, long term, negativity, doomsday, gloomy. Also, too, really following the rules. Like, we are not playing around. There's no joking. There's no laughing matter in this situation. Now, Saturn is retrograding. So that means that there could be some delays in this court case if this is the correct time. Okay. There could be some delays in this court case. There could be some redoing. Anytime a planet is retrograding, there's redoing, there's repeating, there's slowing up. Yes, that is what could happen as far as the time. Also, too, this court case could take a long time if Saturn is the ruler. It's like, oh my gosh. And Saturn's in the sign Taurus. So, oh my gosh, not only is it a long time, but it's in Taurus, and Taurus moves so slow. So that can also be a part of it. Okay, let me see what I have in my notes here. That's his Saturn. Sorry. So the Saturn that we're dealing with is Saturn in Pisces. I'm glad I looked at my notes. Okay. So I'm so used to the chart being flip-flop. So I apologize if I confuse anything, but he has a Saturn in Taurus. He likes to move slow when it comes to things of government and restriction, and also too, that's being very serious about aesthetics in some way. But that's and serious about like women. Okay, so that's another story. But that Saturn, let me see if this, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about his Saturn a little bit later. Okay, but this Saturn, the ruler of this Saturn, is sitting next to the North Node here in Pisces. Is sitting next to the MC of the court case. Okay, so Saturn in Pisces means there's a lot of Delulu energy. It's not retrograding, so the case may not take long. I apologize for saying that. But that Saturn in Pisces means there's going to be a lot of delusions, a lot of secrets, a lot of things that we cannot see. Pisces represents things we cannot see. Also, it could be representing an ending. We are shutting this down. We are ending this. Pisces also represents a cult. Okay, I have to just say this because a lot of people are connecting this to with Jeffrey Epstein and connecting it to Israel, and Pisces does represent all that energy because Pisces can represent a religion. Okay, so Saturn's in that sign Pisces. Saturn represents the government. Saturn represents a corporation. So if the music industry is in charge of this case, they are holding on tight, okay? Because it is the ruler of this court case, and it represents corporations, it represents the infrastructure, it represents government, okay? And it represents limits, and it's a burden and a challenge. So that is all what we have. And far as this court case, if the ruler is Saturn and it's in Pisces, that means that we are going to be confused with a lot of stuff. Are there things that we cannot see that is happening behind scenes? Okay, that is what we have. Okay, so it's conjunct the North Node, and when it's conjunct the North Node here, that transit is like there's like a karmic checkpoint. And Saturn, again, it's about disciplines, lessons, and responsibility, while the North Node represents our destiny and the evolution. What are we supposed to be meant to do in this lifetime? So there is a demand for maturity and spiritual accountability. The court case is going to say, hello, you need to release and forgive and stop doing all those things that you use for escapism. We are going to hold you accountable. Okay. He must take full ownership of his past choices and commit to a path that aligns with integrity and a higher purpose. That is one of the things that could definitely happen during this court case. I think that's a little bit more obvious. And it can also point to the legal and institutional consequences being a vehicle for personal evolution. So I told you that this could represent too. Delulu, energy, illusions, secrets, things happening behind the scenes. Okay, this also is opposing the court case, is opposing his Pluto in Scorpio. Is it his Pluto? No, his Pluto in Virgo. I'm sorry. It's opposing his Pluto in Virgo. Again, you guys, this is crazy because, let me drink some water real quick because I really want to go in. This is something I should probably put behind paywall, but I'm going to try to say this with discernment, okay? And I want you guys, I'm going to try to say this slow, especially we're in the energy of Taurus. I'm going to think before I speak. And I want you guys to comprehend the things that I'm saying without me even saying some of the things, okay? Pluto and Saturn, when they are opposing each other, there's a lot of things that are very secretive involved here. There's a lot of power control and restriction. Power control and restriction. Saturn is a negative planet. It's a malefic planet. It's the biggest malefic planet ever. Now it's opposing his Pluto. His Pluto is a planet of secrets. His Pluto is the planet of taboo things that are very taboo. His Pluto represents all Plutos. All Plutos represent the energy of having a transformation, a rebirth, a change, okay? Now, and it also represents obsession of power. And he has it in Virgo. So he's obsessed in power on details and work, maybe health. I mean, he did run a marathon. That could be a thing, but the details of everything, being very meticulous and having power over the details. Now, when you have this, there could be something could be exposed. And this could be involving the secrets of the government or the secrets of, and I know you're like, why are you saying government with the Pdiddy? If you don't know, you know. If you do know, you know. Okay. There could be something for as an institution that this Pluto is going to call out. Okay. So exposes hidden power struggles. There could be some legal control dynamics happening. Now this is also an intensity and with some psychological things on a personal level that he can be clearing out, because that Virgo likes to cleansing out. That can happen. This aspect can also draw out secrets that are long-standing tensions, because that Saturn represents long-term energy. So during this case, we are going to see a lot of his dirt, of course, come out. Who wouldn't expect that? However, it's going to be very intense. And I think that these things are dealing more with institutions that we cannot see, that we're not supposed to be seeing. This could be bringing it out. So this is a negative aspect for him, but positive for the collective to see the tea. Okay. That is something you can see, that we can know. Now, another thing that we see here is that the Neptune, let me see, Neptune in Scorpio, and this is P. Diddy's Neptune in Scorpio, is trining this court case, okay? Because this is the ruler of the court case. So that also makes me think, again, Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, and Neptune's in the sign Scorpio. If you guys know anything about Scorpio energy, these are the things that are very taboo, very secretive. Again, Pluto is the ruler, the modern ruler of Scorpio. So things that you're obsessed with, power control, having money, control over money, obsession, a lot of sexuality, things that are very taboo, and also the mystery of things. Right now it's trining his Neptune. That means that he could probably keep the secrets, the things that we're not supposed to see, all that corruption. I think this is going to work out for them, not for us. I don't think we're going to be able to see it. Saturn suggests that despite there could be some karmic energy, because Saturn represents the heavy weight of karma. It's our test planet, okay? And that could be there, but at the same time, he could be getting spiritual redemption. That would be the positive side. At the same time, I think that this is going to help him not expose the secrets and delusions that he's keeping up. Okay. I want you to understand, the day he got arrested, his private jet flew to an island. It flew to an island by itself with no people in it. What was on that plane? Why isn't anyone discussing that? Why is that okay? Why isn't that in the headlines? Did that have baby oil in it? Why are we ignoring that evidence? Why are we ignoring that fact? Imagine if you get arrested and you're doing something illegal and you can put all your evidence. I'm not saying this is to be true, but let's just say this could be a possibility. This is what I mean. If I was doing some illegal, that's what I would do. If I had a private jet, I would send all my illegal stuff or the evidence to help me prove my case right, so I don't have to do heavy time. That would be on a private jet. If I had my Jeffrey Epstein diaries out and about, they will be on that private jet and be like, okay, you can arrest me, but guess what? That stuff is in Antigua. You can't get that stuff. Just saying, I'm pretty sure if you live in that light, if you live with that energy, if you are intelligent, because he has a Mars in Capricorn, which is very calculated, very methodical, and he's good at this. Okay, 29 degrees means that's a power degree. That means he can do it better than anyone else when it comes to pursuing things that are very methodical. And he probably already had a pre-plan. I'm in trouble. That means do the blue plan or the red plan, hit the red button. And when he hits the red button, things happen. I'm just telling you what this energy means for anyone who has it. Okay. And when the court is happening, in his chart, it is trining his Neptune. That means that he can still keep the secrets. This represents secrets. This represents the illusions, conspiracy theories, the things that you're not supposed to see behind closed doors, all that, to create a fog, to make you think, well, we're really going to put him in jail for sexually, maybe just like for one count, when he really did 1,000 counts, something like that. I'm trying to give that that example. This energy can also not expose collective truths beneath institutional narratives. Yes, because Neptune is about a facade. Okay, now, so that is what we have so far for the case. All right, I'm trying to think, is there anything else I can say far as that element, far as justice? If there is going to be justice, it's going to be long time justice, meaning that he will be serving a long time in jail, and this is his fate. This is his destiny. That is a possibility. That is what this also can mean. Okay. Or this can also mean you are dealing with Pisces. Yes, that is what that means. Okay. Pisces does represent institution in jail, the ending of. Okay. So you have that. Now, another thing we have to look at when we're dealing about a court case is the ninth house. And in the ninth house of this particular time, if the time is correct, I have to keep saying that to myself and you guys, is that Saturn is sitting there. So there is negativity. There is pessimism for as Pdiddy. It looks very bad for him. If this is also dealing with the case. Now, this is in a sign Pisces. So when you look at Pisces, and Pisces is all about your morals, your spirituality, what are your karmic themes? And then also too, this is also about, again, illusions and secrets, and these not taboo things, but these secret things, these secret addictions that you have. This is what this all represents. And this court case is going to be big. Of course, we know that's a big theme about it. Pisces energy is here also to blur the lines between the victim and the predator. That could possibly be happening. Maybe there's going to be a big push on making him look like he's a victim. That could be a possibility with this. The justice system is being viewed not just through the legal procedures, but also the lens of compassion, sacrifice, and moral ambiguity. The court could be deceiving us. That is also a thing. And I can't get past seeing this because that is all I see. I just see a huge thing of deception with this whole court case. I just want you to understand. The presence of Saturn, the North Node, and the MC in the Pisces could also represent this is his destiny. This is what he was meant to do. Anytime you have the North Node, this is a big involvement. Also, too, if he's having a court case, and remember, this ruler of this court case could be Cancer. And if it's Cancer, that means when the eclipse happened, this is going to affect him. So that means there is an eclipse happening in September 7th in the sign Pisces. That could be affecting him. So we could be getting closer to that time, and we will be hearing something of an ending. But that's happening at 15 degrees. But an eclipse that's really going to affect him, I saw, was September 21st. That's in Virgo. It's at 29 degrees, and that's going to be sitting on top of his Pluto of power. When it's sitting on top of something, that's good and bad. And what I'm saying eclipse, I just want you guys to understand that during the eclipse energy can last for 6 months. I know that's no fun. You want an exact date, you can. You cannot have it. It can happen literally on the day of the eclipse, because like that Hamas attack happened literally like within 2 days of the eclipse. So this could happen close to the eclipse or around the eclipse, and this is going to sit on his Pluto, and that means a huge transformation in his work, not necessarily freedom in his work, because that's that Virgo energy. Virgo is details, work. I'm trying to think what else. That's just what I can think of off the top of my head. Okay. I just remembered that the eclipse could be affecting this. What else we have? Oh, also to the presence of, okay, I said that. Saturn demands accountability and structure, pushing for a more spiritual reckoning. Also to of forgiveness. So like this Saturn could say, you need to apologize. The court case, like in court, he needs to apologize somehow. That could be like part of the punishment, or maybe he is going to apologize in court. That could be a possibility. The North Node points to the being the fitted learning opportunity. Okay, so also too, because we're dealing with the MC and this is involved here, this could be like a huge thing far as the how the court looks to the public, and it could look like, okay, it's being deceitful, or there is a lot of emotions happening here, or people are very sensitive. It's such a sensitive court case. That also is what that can represent. Or also too, it could be that he is again, I just want you to understand that Pisces is about glamour. And glamour, like when you look up Hollywood and you look up a lot of Hollywood themes and Pisces and Neptune's involved, I want you to understand, like, if you look up LA's chart, in the first house is Neptune. And the reason why it's Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, is because it represents glamour. And when you have glamour, all this stuff is hand in hand, then you're talking about things that are hidden. You're talking about lace front wigs. You're talking about it looks beautiful and everything looks like a rose-colored lens. But when you actually get involved with Hollywood, then it's all disgusting. And there's a cult, and there's porn, and there's addiction, and there's drugs, and there's powers. People are being limited. And yes, all these things that are like, oh, this isn't pretty at all. This is the energy of this court case. Okay. I want you to understand, not only is it the energy of this court case, but it's also Saturn. And Saturn makes it very restrictive. It makes it a burden. It makes it pessimistic. It makes it a gloom. It's like a heavy cloud is also lifted on this. Saturn is also the planet of karma. So now karma is coming to bite you in the A for you having these illusions, for you to acting like it's glamour and you have all this power, but you're really being deceitful. You're really trying to, you really have an addiction problem, and it could be addiction is not just drugs, people. Addiction could be all of these things. Okay. It invites a broader reflective on institutions, dispense justice, and whether they are involving on clinging outdated systems. I also think too, this is just me and my personal belief from looking at the chart. I'm trying to translate it without being biased, but I'm going to tell you my biased opinion. I also think too that the government or because I think the government institutions are kind of the same thing, but the powers that be are in charge of this court case, and there is a lot of illusions and fakeness happening here. That's just, I don't know if I said that already, but I want that to be known. Let me see what else. Okay. The ruler also too, the modern, the traditional ruler of Pisces is Jupiter, and Jupiter is in Gemini. So this means that if this is part of the court case, because this also represents law, and I see Saturn's here, so this is all going to be hand in hand. That means there's going to be a lot of things communicated. Is it going to be the truth? I don't know, but it's going to be a lot of communication, a lot of things in the news. There's going to be a lot of flip-flopping as well, because that Gemini likes to flip-flop. Another thing that is huge to know is that this Jupiter is in the 12th house. 12th house, again, is aligned with that Pisces energy. There's several things aligned with the Pisces energy. This one has got some good juju here for Pdiddy. This one is all this is in Pisces, and this is the ruler of the 7th house. And then the ruler of the 9th house is sitting here in the 12th house. So this again is that Pisces element of illusions and fake glamour and Hollywood and a cult and the shadiness. You got it. Okay. Let me see. Seclusion, reflection, hidden forces, and secrets behind the scene deals could be happening and we don't know. So they could, in this court case, possibility, the lawyers go talk behind closed doors and they come up with something and we may not even see it. That could be a possibility. Jupiter in Gemini is squaring P. Diddy's Pluto, though. We have that. Again, he doesn't have positive aspects when it comes to him having control, him being obsessed with control, also him having his big transformation. Now, Jupiter is a positive planet. Sometimes when it aspects a negative in a negative way, it still could be abundant. I don't know if he's born in the daytime or nighttime. That can help me figure that out. But if we'll do both sides. So if it's positive, that means that there is a huge transformation happening to him, and it's going to happen in regards to his work, and it could be a good transformation. The negative side is that his work is going to really see a huge transformation, huge transformation. It's already there, but it's going to get worse, and it's going to be talked about because it's in Gemini. Now it's in the 12th house, so we won't be able to see it. So it makes me think that the powers that be, all the people who are in control, they're talking, they're making him sign secret contracts or making him give his blood to give verbal contracts or whatever. And they're like, no, we're going to change this and you won't have any more power. That could be a possibility. Uranus is trining his Pluto. Let me see. Okay, so Uranus is trining his Pluto. So this is positive for, I keep wanting to say Trump, but this is positive for P. Diddy. So that means in his court case, there could be a huge possibility that something unexpected could be happening. Like there could be an unexpected, one of the charges could be dropped. There could be an influencer that's really supporting him and it has his back and it gives him more power. Or maybe maybe a social media influencer, because Uranus does represent social media influencers. A social media influencer could be helping him transform some things in regarding to work. Let me see. A potential aiding him in reasserting control and redirecting his public narrative. That could be happening, and that could be happening unexpectedly, a huge surprise, and it's something with his resources. And it could be taking its time, slow, but Uranus moves fast. So something unexpected in regards to his resources and his finances. It can symbolize a strategic pivot or legal maneuver that allows deep change and unfold events happening in this case. Okay, let me see what else we have here. I do want to say that all these things, these big planets here, his support that he normally gets, because he had Sean John, all these women, all that stuff. This is happening in his 4th house. This is in his house of safety, and this is in his house of things happening in the past. There's a lot of communication with relationships of the past. A lot of also his past court discussions are brought up because that Libra represents court things. But a lot of relationships talked about in the past, of course, that is already obvious. Let me see. Venus in the 4th house is trining Jupiter in Gemini. This is positive. That could be that even the people who are supporting him, Venus is what your support, things you naturally attract. They're both hand in hand, positive planets. So he could be getting some money in his court case. He could be getting a lot of support, a lot of communication. It's in air signs. Air signs are all about communication. So positive communication could be happening for him in his court case. Let me see what else I have for you. Okay, so I do think that the tone of this case is going to be very serious, because we have this Saturn here and it's very serious. There's going to be a lot of karma, a lot of things that he built up, and now it's all stacking up against him. That is obvious, I think, with a lot of things. The court attitude is that things could be moving very slow. It values the truth and wants emotional maturity. Let me see what else. Why is my thing not moving? Okay. Let me see. This could take a long time because we have that Saturn here, negotiations and systematic reflection. I just think it's going to take a long time. I think that this court case could possibly take a long time, and maybe when it ends, or it's a long time coming to a long ending. Now, I pulled some cards here. I want you to know. Now, will P. Diddy win the case? I have pulled the 7 of Cups. Now, this is another thing that just confirms things that I think about this case. If you see this card, if you don't know tarot, okay, this card usually has a bunch of clouds. The person is confused. It's like, oh my gosh, what can I choose? I'm uncertain. So will he win this case? It's giving me an uncertain answer, a lot of cloudiness, a lot of illusions. This represents emotional confusion. It could be multiple narratives. There could be distractions. He may be tempted to by misleading choices or offers. It's like the victory is not straightforward. It makes me think of Johnny Depp. Like, did he win or did he not win? It's like something like that. It depends on the clarity and discernment. It could also indicate public smoke screen around the case and resolution. So to me, this represents illusions. Okay. If he wins, it's still an illusion. If he loses, it's still an illusion for the collective. Okay. I cannot not say that. But this is what this card also represents. It's saying it doesn't matter if he wins. I know you want to know if he wins. Even if he does win, it's an illusion. The court is giving us a facade. This is a show. Why also do I know it's a show? If you look at the chart, let me bring the chart back up. If you look at the chart in the sky currently, while this is happening, Mars is in a sign Leo. When you got Leo, you got celebrities acting. This is a stage. Listen to the Lauryn Hill song Adam Lives in Theory. It's a stage. These are actors. These are all actors. And that Mars and Leo is showing that it's nothing but actors. But will he win a case? This is a card that I pulled. I'm telling you the translation of the card. So that's what I have. Also, too, what will we learn from this case? I have the Three of Cups. Did I have it in reverse? I had it upright. At the Three of Cups upright. Okay. Now, this means that we will have a sense of unity. There is something that's going to be an alliance. There is going to be a celebration and probably a celebration of women. So women will get their victory when it comes to Pdiddy. Yes, multiple parties will be involved here. There's a chance that the public will have some public figures, and there's going to be a huge celebration with some public figures or just women as a whole. I think that women will be very satisfied with the outcome of this court case, even though it's an illusion. Okay. Now typed in in my notes, I put in conspiracy. Is this a conspiracy? Okay. Because I just can't help myself. I'm like, is this a conspiracy? Because that's all I see is that this is an illusion. Okay. So I pulled the card for that question. I pulled the Aquarius card. This is a star card. And a star is very hopeful. Is also could suggest exposure and things that are very hidden. Now it's like it's communicated. I do think that there is going to be a collective awareness, and there is going to be, because it represents a collective, about the future and us being aware about the future, us being aware about how celebrities move, us being aware how the music industry moves, us being aware how the media can manipulate. Yes, I think there's going to be an awareness of an intelligence and a heavy communication on that, and bring the awareness to that dark light that we have. Okay. Now, also, to lastly, I put what was the question I put for this? Because I have the card, but the question was also to the shadiness. Okay. Like, is this all just an illusion? When I look at, oh, that was the exact question I asked. When I look at this Saturn in Pisces, am I tripping? Because all I can see is that this is a big show. Well, for that card, I pulled the Justice card in reverse. So that just solidified everything I said. If you want to know what justice means, it means literally what it means: justice, fairness, and it's upside down. When it's upside down, I mean, it just literally means what it means. It's not working right. There is no justice. This is all fake. This justice system is fake, and this is going to be a show. So everyone, grab your popcorn, get ready for the script, because we have it Mars and Leo. We have all the Pisces, all the elements that you want to have a great scripted movie. This is what we're going to see, far as Pdiddy's I was going to say show. But Saturn and Pisces reflects how the system is going to be blended with illusions, media, and it's going to be very this energy, very ambiguity. Okay. Instead of having some clear rules, instead of having some symbolic justice, instead of having the legal process be righteous and be real. I think when you have Saturn in Pisces, not I think when you have Saturns in Pisces, it's not being real, it's being a facade. Okay, so that is what we have. I hope you guys enjoyed. I broke down P. Diddy's chart heavily. I tried to give as much information I can. I'm pretty sure that's not in my community. I'm pretty sure that's out, and I will link it down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions. If you have any questions, put it in a comment box. I will answer it because I don't know everything about the court case. I do know, actually, let me tell you what I do know. Did I delete it? Ugh, I probably deleted. I do know he has, like, I think 3 charges. One is like traveling with a prostitute, racketeering. Yes, but I had it in my notes, but I accidentally deleted it because I was reading my chart wrong. Let me see if I have it here. Here we go. The long-awaited trial of Sean P. Diddy Combs is set to kick off with jury selection on May 5th. So that's what's going to happen on May 5th. And May 5th is a show. Okay, but it starts the show. This starts the trial. Combs was arrested last September in New York City. Combs was indicted. I can't say that. Indicted on charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He pleaded non-guilty. They allege that Combs used his business empire to conduct freak-offs, which prosecutors describe as highly orchestrated intimacy performances. Okay. Prosecutors claimed Combs forced or coerced women into participating in extended sexual acts and would allegedly leverage his power and influence to do so. Now, as I was reading the chart, his power is going to be a huge diminish. Okay. His power has no luck. It has no positivity. It's going against the Saturn. So there's a lot of restrictions happening for him, and it challenges all of his power. I do think women will be very happy with the conclusion of this court case. The most serious charge Combs faces is racketeering, which carries a potential life sentence. Will he have a life sentence? I wish I had his birth time. But I mean, Pisces and Saturn sitting next to that Pisces, that actually could be very much true. Because Saturn sitting next to the North, I said North Pisces, sitting next to the North Node means a destiny and closure and long time and endings and institutions. That could very much, like, I will put some money on that one. I would say yes. Actually, let's pull a card and see what it says, shall we? Will he get life? We have the High Priestess. I think that there is going to be some illusions happening again with that. This is dealing with things that are very secretive and hidden and mysteries. It's almost like, will he get life? And if he gets life, I'm going to pull a clarification card. The machete, the kings of machetes. Will he get life? Something will, I'm looking at the cards myself because I have to think. Will he get life? It makes me think. This is the king of machetes. It's not in reverse. It's very happy. It's speaking his truth. I don't see it happening. I don't see him having life. Let's see. Oh, this is someone who's fought the battle and lost. So that could be a yes. With the 5 of machetes. But I feel like maybe he's going to have life and become spiritual in jail. That could be a possibility, or become a speaker of things that are very knowledgeable when he's in jail. Will he have life? You know what? If this was a yes or no and I pulled the High Priestess, I would say yes. This is me thinking out loud. Sometimes I have to process the information, but I would say yes. I think the truth will come out when he has life. We're going to say yes, especially with that Saturn sitting there. I'm going to say yes. Okay. Also to it. And when you have the 5 of machetes pulled, that means that you fought a battle and you regret that battle. You regret having that fight. And so he's going to regret not saying that he's not guilty. Okay. Let me see what else we have. The most serious charge, I said that. To land a conviction, prosecutors will need to prove he ran a criminal enterprise. The indictment also describes an incident in which Combs allegedly assaulted his ex-singer, or his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. And we saw that, though she is not named in the indictment, the the described incident marches up with hotel surveillance. Okay, so why do we need to know that? This has nothing to do with the court case. I didn't know that. The trial is expected to last several weeks, if not months. Here's that long-term energy, and could potentially feature some high-profile witnesses. We have that Mars and Leo. So we're gonna see some celebrities. That's for sure. Jury selection is planned for May 5th and 6th, and with written questionnaires for prosecutive jurors. Opening statements are scheduled May 12th. Okay, so let's go to May 12th, you guys. Let's pull that up real quick, and let's see what we have here. Let's see. Let me remove this. Let's see what we have for May 12th. Let's see if we have any other extra tea here. May 12th. Mm, oh, okay. May 12th. I need to look at the outer ring here. I don't see much happening that is a change. May 12th, we have Mercury in the sign Taurus. What that means Mercury is in Aries. That means we're going to get some tangible evidence on May 12th. Opening statements are scheduled May 12th. May 12th, that means that whole time Mercury is in Taurus and he's in court. That is when we're going to get some hardcore evidence. Last time Mercury's in Taurus is when that Cassie video came out. When Mercury's in Taurus, it always gives us realistic, tangible evidence. It's no like Delulu energy. This is hardcore tangible evidence. So we'll get that May 12th. That's going to be exciting. Who's excited about that? Let me see. As Mercury, and it's going to be really fast information too if he's around May 25th too. Okay, so that is what I have. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, ask your questions and I shall answer. I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye bye.